Welcome to Kate's Take from galsguide.org. Each week I talk about a movie that has shaped my life, and I'll teach you how to dissect a movie and find the life lessons hidden within. Hello and welcome back to Kate's Take. This week I am talking about a film that I remember loving when I was a teenager, but I actually can't remember why. So trusting my gut, I put on the schedule Dirty Dancing. I felt it was time to revive it, and maybe now was the time in my life to really understand it. And thank goodness I am not alone, because this week I have the fabulous Jennifer Berk with me. Welcome, Jennifer.
Hello, hello. It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Well, I'm so glad you love this movie and we're up for doing this, so I appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, yay. Awesome. All right. So how about we give the people a little bit of a refresher? It's always nice, even if you've seen the movie, not too long ago, refreshers are always nice. So Dirty Dancing takes place in the summer of 1963, and it follows a character named Baby and her family and a dancer named Johnny. So Baby actually sets the scene for us. She says, "That was before President Kennedy was shot, before the Beatles came, and when I couldn't wait to join the Peace Corps, and I thought I'd never find a guy as great as my dad. That was the summer we went to the Kellermans." So even though it is a narration in the film that never actually continues, never comes back, it gives the movie a feel like it's a novel, almost, actually. It's kind of like an author looking back at the summer of her life. So in this summer, the family visits a resort that is set up due to Baby's father helping the owner, Max Kellerman, with his high blood pressure. So the resort features, among golfing, bingo nights, poker games, and wig try-ons, dance lessons. So think more Dancing with the Stars type of dance lessons. Two of the most popular teachers are the former Rockette named Penny and the Arthur Murray trained dance instructor named Johnny. So set up very early in the movie is this upstairs, downstairs kind of motif. The guests and the help. But there's even more of a divide in there because you've got the elite college guys as the wait staff and then the so-called hoodlum entertainment. But we'll get more into that in a moment. So Baby makes friends with the dancers and learns that Penny is pregnant from one of the rich waiters. He's not going to take care of her or the baby, and there's talk about an appointment, but the word abortion is never uttered. And when Penny gets a botched abortion, Baby brings in her doctor father to help. And he does. And everybody loves him. But seeing Baby help the hoodlums causes a divide, and she's told to stay away from them. And she doesn't. So Baby and Johnny form a relationship that gets a little Romeo and Juliet, just a little bit. Not everybody dies. That's always nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's a nice little change of pace. There is, however, Johnny getting framed for stealing wallets, which Baby helps to show that it was an old couple, but Johnny still gets fired. And the movie ends with Baby's father accepting Johnny, and everybody dances.
Dancing.
So I know, it's such a great way to end a movie. Everybody dance. I love it. So my past with this movie was first and foremost the soundtrack. I had it on record because that's how flippin' old I am. Now, I was probably about 10 years old when the movie came out, and the movie was PG-13, so I'm really guessing that I had to wait a year for either rental or cable to see it. I don't think my parents would take me to a theater to see a movie that's literally called Dirty Dancing. So for some time before seeing it, I had the music. So I thought, let's jam on the music first. So, Jen, did you have the soundtrack or did you like the music in the movie?
I did have the soundtrack.
Yes.
I had it first on cassette. And then I had it on CD so I could play it in my car.
The CD you talk about.
Yes.
The technology.
And I got a little bit older because, as you said, I didn't see it in the theaters either.
Yes.
I first saw it on cable.
Gotcha.
I just love singing and moving with the music. And at the time, the other movies that I had seen was Peggy Sue Got Married.
Oh, good one. Yeah.
And Mermaids.
Oh, yes.
Which were both set in about the same time as Dirty Dancing. Mermaids was right before Kennedy was shot.
Yep.
And a lot of the 50s music was still present in the early 60s.
Yeah, and very true. And those had great soundtracks, both those movies.
Yes, they did. I have both of them too. And I just loved the sounds. I loved the use of all those instruments and the vocal harmonies. Mm-hmm. And it was fun with the falsettos.
Oh,
it was just great music to listen to.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I remember the main song, the I've had the time of my life. That one was played like everywhere on the radio and on
All the
MTV.
time.
Oh, back
Yes.
when MTV showed music videos. Remember that?
Yes.
So, and I'm pretty sure that's probably the reason why I got the album was because of the songs that were on the radio. But I really like the 50s stuff too. I mean, the album had the Ronettes, it had the Five Satins. And what the Dirty Dancing soundtrack inspired me to do was to check out my parents' records. And what I remember was picking up the American Graffiti soundtrack. It was like a 2-record collection. That was my real gateway. I fell in love with like Leslie Gore and Fats Domino, the Supremes, and Elvis, and like many, many more. It also allowed me to learn about Motown and Sun Records. But also, I think the Dirty Dancing soundtrack, I really just wanted someone to sing Love is Strange with me, like Mickey and Sylvia.
Yes, exactly. That was definitely one of my favorite songs, but I wasn't really a fan of Time of My Life.
Yeah, right?
Or She's Like the Wind.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was because you could tell that they were composed for the film.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
They were the fillers 1980 songs. They were both recorded just for the film, and it didn't make them less fun. You can just tell they were a little bit out of place from the rest of the soundtrack.
Right. I did always think it was kind of jarring where it's like we have this wonderful 50s and 60s and this is definitely an 80s song.
Yeah. Yes. And they had Patrick Swayze singing She's Like the Wind, which I never believed. There's only like one word that even sounds like his voice.
Every time, even when I was researching and it showed Hungry Eyes, or no, She's Like the Wind. Yeah. Patrick Swayze. I'm like, really? I still
If there's
don't
only
believe
one
it.
word, you have to listen really
And
hard.
then you're like, it's him.
Oh, yeah, that is him. I can't even remember what the word is, but there's only one word in there that sounds like him.
What I'll go with that is, you know how you get British singers like, Mick Jagger, that when they sing, then they sound American?
Yes.
Maybe it's that. Maybe. So now the other part of my life that really related to the 10-year-old self was the dancing. Not necessarily the gyrating hips dancing, but I was in dance classes from a very young age. I don't know what age I was when I quit dancing, but I do remember why. I started having my own ideas, my own dance steps that I wanted to do. And my teacher was not having it. She was not about to listen to me. So I told my mom that I didn't want to go to dance class anymore. I guess I've always been kind of stubbornly rebellious. So did you do dance classes as like a kid or an adult?
I did.
Yay!
I took tap from the time I was 6 until I was 12.
Awesome.
And I loved performing and being on stage, and I got to sing with some of my numbers. But at 12, preteen, I just started not being interested in dance lessons as much.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Dirty Dancing was on television. It was playing like 20 times in 3 weeks. So it was something different from what I had done. And I thought it was so cool for those dance stunts.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there was also a featurette that I stumbled upon on public access television that was Patrick talking to a group of dancers discussing his experience as a dancer.
Oh, nice.
It got me interested in dancing again, and I'd auditioned for my dance team in high school, and so from my sophomore to my senior year, I was dancing with them.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. The other thing that does remind me of, especially with the dancing, is 3 years before this movie was also Footloose. That one. So the dancing aspect of Johnny wanting to dance his type of music, his rebellious dancing, it totally made sense to me because it was already, established for me in Footloose.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing when Johnny is teaching Baby to dance. When they first meet at the house party, he's kind of having her loosen up, right? Now, I just wonder who, male or female, is not looking at that pelvis.
Those hips and that pelvis.
I'm just saying, the camera, it doesn't move, but it feels like it moves. It just, oh, hot damn. It reminds me of Elvis. It reminds me of sex, but mostly Elvis. So a little bit of context here, because actually, if you don't know that much about Elvis, in 1956, Elvis was on the Milton Berle show, and he sung Hound Dog. And he had all the pelvis shaken. That's usually the famous scene that we always see in clips. So critics actually called it vulgar, and they called it, animalism. And the Catholic Church actually published a headline, "Beware Elvis Presley." It was like a big deal. Mm. And Ed Sullivan, at first, he said that he would never hire Presley. But he did. He signed him to a 3-show contract, and the cameras actually mix between a very far away distance, like a safe distance, some would say, yeah. But also waist up shots. So it was kind of like that, is he or isn't he going to be rebellious and do hip shaking and all that stuff? But so I think Dirty Dancing really kind of captured that sense of what could be seen as vulgar at that time, and using that subtle Elvis motif. So on one hand, to show the dirty of the Dirty Dancing, but also draw you in, because Elvis was nothing if he wasn't extremely charismatic, and so is Patrick Swayze.
Yes, Patrick Swayze could just walk in the room and he'd catch your attention.
Absolutely.
But it's really still funny to me to say vulgar.
I know, right?
Because even when you know the times that the film was set and what was considered proper, it still seems funny to me to call it vulgar. I know it's risque. Okay, I'll give it that. But that was Johnny's type of dancing. It was more intimate than the foxtrot. But you're taught at your middle school dance to keep a certain distance from the boy, that the hand can't go lower than the waist,
My dance space, your dance space.
yeah. But to me, dancing is an art, and it's an expressive art, a way for two people to be able to express themselves with each other, and that there is a trust. And I'm not just talking the lift. Like the first time you see Johnny and Penny dancing, they end it with a jump, and her feet are over her head. Johnny makes a wrong move. She does a face plant. So dancing to me in all forms is fun to watch and wonderful to learn. And I can understand intimate and risque, but vulgar is just a little extreme to say. But, that's the media,
I can only assume they would think that belly dancing would be vulgar.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, please.
It's an art form. It's an expression.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So let's dig a little deeper. Let's dig into the messages of this movie. And we'll start with the upstairs, downstairs motif that I kind of alluded to earlier. So Baby overhears Max Kellerman, the owner, say to the waitstaff, and I'm going to chop this up just a little bit, but he says, there are two kinds of help here. You guys are the college guys, and I went to Harvard and Yale to hire you. This is a family place. You show the goddamn daughters a good time. All the daughters, even the dogs. Oh, that's sweet. Sweet. So nice. So the waitstaff is nearly on the same level as the upstairs guests. They are Ivy League. But when Johnny and the entertainers come in, Max says to them, entertainment has their own rules. You dance with the daughters, anything they pay for, but that's it. That's where it ends. No conversations, no funny business, and keep your hands off. Interesting. So that sets up that the entertainers are clearly downstairs. This is pushed even farther when Johnny and Penny come to dance in the big room and take up most of the floor because they're fabulous at it. But Neil, who is Max's grandson and the manager of the resort, says they're here to keep the guests happy. And then snarks at their dance moves, saying they shouldn't be showing off with each other because that won't sell lessons. So Max stops them, and they end up dancing with other guests. And Robbie, the waiter, who is going to medical school, and he has seemingly tried to woo baby sister Lisa. And he even comments that when he learns about Baby and Johnny, it's okay, baby. I went slumming too. Oh. Yeah. So this is also a reference into getting Penny pregnant. So what did you think of the kind of upstairs, downstairs motif?
It is, and it's evident that that message is there, that this is separate. I wouldn't say, like you said, upstairs, downstairs, as in guest staff, but more educated, uneducated. And I put uneducated in quotation marks because, Penny was kicked out when she was 16 and, she did what she could to survive. Johnny's character was at the right place at the right time for the Arthur Murray instruction. And that's a dream come true for some dancers.
Oh, totally.
I think the lines were drawn more down a socioeconomic path than it was between the help and the guests. And it's even more evident when Dr. Houseman blows off Johnny, the dance instructor, when he's trying to defend Baby, but is more than willing to give Robbie, the med student, money without truly knowing him.
Right, exactly. Which Baby calls him on, and we will totally get to that.
Yeah.
Because I love it. So now with quotes like, they're here to keep the guests happy and show the daughters a good time, it kind of feels like this whole resort is just a hush-hush prostitution ring. I'm just saying. Then again, I never went to a resort for the summer in the 1960s. So maybe that's what they were back then, just a hookup joint. I don't know. But the dancers are getting paid for extra, finger quotes, lessons. And they are seemingly of a horizontal nature. And the wait staff is getting money from fathers for like medical school, like Robbie does. So Johnny talks about it very briefly. And he talks about how some summers he's eating jujubes to survive, and other summers he has women putting diamonds in his pockets, trying to pay him to sleep with, or to pay him to sleep with them. Yeah. There we go. So there's this brief moment that we feel sorry for Johnny, actually, because he really does hope that the women care about him. But he does know that they're just using him. So there's also Baby and her sister Lisa who are caught up in this, but they feel it's for love. Lisa is being wooed by Robbie, who decides she's going to lose her virginity to him, but she finds him sleeping with somebody else. And Baby, I don't know if it was her first time or not. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't want to dig too much into a character. But she seems to be the older sister, but she hooks up with Johnny for love. I would argue that it is lust at first, though.
Yeah. The way she looks at him, yeah.
Yeah, he's different. He's attractive. He's dangerous. He's all the things that's new, and it's just kind of lusty. But at the same time, I do feel like they are very much in love. But what did you think about the whole prostitution thing, hookup thing, love thing? Like, it's very... Everybody could look at it from a different angle, I think.
Yeah. I didn't really have the prostitution idea. Maybe I'm a romantic, I don't know. But I do understand the need for a summer romance.
Absolutely. I can see that.
Yeah. I went on summer vacation to coastal towns and stayed in a few times in cabins, and when I was a teenage girl I wanted to be romanced, and what better time to do it than a place where you can define yourself, where no one knows you. You can be whoever you want to be, and that might bring a suitor to your door. So I understand the daughters wanting to be taken out to see the stars or a long walk by the water, and women want to be romanced as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, maybe when you're put in that stature and have that kind of money, you figure that's what men want. And hence the diamonds and door keys Johnny was receiving. So, like I said, maybe I'm more of a romantic to think that it was just the summer love idea.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I absolutely see that. I'm way too weary.
Yeah.
So whether it is glorious summer love picking it up or some kind of prostitution, it catches up with Penny. She ends up getting pregnant by Robbie. So now the abortion part of the movie is something that actually really confused me as a kid. So I'm going to totally walk you through this. So everybody thinks that Penny and Johnny are a couple because of the way they dance with each other. But we learn that they haven't been a couple since they were kids, and they're really more than, more like a brother and sister, or just a great dance pair. Yeah. They look out for one another. They have other relationships, but it's still the perception of many that they are a couple. So when Baby learns that Penny is pregnant, she thinks it's Johnny's. She finds out it's Robbie's. She knows that Robbie has money to pay for an appointment That's how they refer to it. So in 1963, when this movie takes place, Roe versus Wade has not happened yet. That was in 1973. So until then, it actually, abortion varied from state to state on the legality of it. And we also have no idea of what state this movie takes place in. It was filmed in North Carolina and Virginia, so I can tell you that. So now Baby knows that Robbie has the money because he was bragging to her sister that he was saving up for an Alfa Romeo, and those ain't cheap.
Yeah.
So Baby talks to Robbie, who insists that it's not his problem because she had probably balled every guy in the place. Yeah, that's an excuse. So he even adds on to it, some people count and some people don't. So he's terrible.
Yes.
Baby gets the money for the appointment from her father. The appointment goes terribly wrong. Penny is in pain. They can't call a doctor or the police because it's illegal. So when Baby gets her father to help, he asks, who is responsible for this woman? And Johnny answers, I am. So now this, as a kid, confused me because I had assumed that Johnny taking responsibility and also the built-in idea that you don't lie to an adult meant that Johnny was the father, that he was lying all the other times before and he was telling the truth to an adult. So I was very confused also if Penny was still pregnant because I didn't know what the hell an appointment meant. I also didn't know what in trouble, and I didn't know what dirty knife and a folding table meant. So now later, when Johnny talks to Baby's father, and he says to him, I see someone in front of me that got his partner in trouble, sent her off to some butcher while moving on to an innocent young girl like my daughter. Again, because it's a father figure that said it, I took it as, yeah, that's what happened. I couldn't get the context that adults like Johnny and Penny could have a platonic relationship, but still feel responsible for each other. So I don't know if it was just the abortion thing that confused me as a kid or a lot of it just as a kid.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, because it was confusing to me. Like
okay,
you said.
good. I'm not the only one.
Oh, yeah. No. I was probably 12 or 13 when I saw it. And the word abortion was never used. And so I never really understood what exactly was going on with Penny.
Right.
I knew that she had to be away for the dance routine, that it was an appointment. I didn't understand the folding table and a dirty knife reference. And when Johnny said he was responsible, I, at the time, thought that was more, I'm responsible for keeping her safe.
Okay, gotcha.
Never for the pregnancy. But when I recently watched the film, I noticed Baby's face, like, no, you're not. Like that look on her face of, wait a minute, this is Robbie's fault. So, yeah, being a kid, I didn't get any of that. I did know the rebel. I did know the dad trying to protect the daughter from the rebel. And, you know, when it came to Johnny and Penny's relationship, I understood those two as a platonic relationship because I have plenty of male friends, always have, and way more than female friends. And so those two being able to take care of each other but still not be romantic together was real to me. So separate, yeah. And I knew that she was trying to be romantic with Robbie, and he was all over the place with more than one girl.
Right, exactly.
And so I knew he didn't like Robbie, and Penny was definitely the girl who just got in trouble. And I never understood what that was. Even when she said, I can still have kids, I was like,
right?
Oh.
I was like, but
okay.
I thought you were having a kid. It was what?
All right.
This is definitely watched so much better when you're a grown person.
Yes, yeah.
It makes a lot more sense.
It does. And with Baby lying about the money, you know, it's for something, I can't tell you what it is. And he asks,
exactly.
Is it illegal?
And even,
and the look
I
on
know
her
that
face,
hesitation of the illegal
crap.
part.
But no, Daddy. And then he's like, of course not. Why? I'm sorry I even asked that. And I'm like, oh.
Baby would never do anything illegal. Oh.
So, yeah, completely different film from then to now.
Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Once you know that little element of it, you're like, yeah, it's totally right. I completely forgot about that was in there. But it's a crucial part of the story. It actually brings our two characters together. Baby then comes in and, gets to know Johnny better. Mm-hmm. And, gets to have that relationship because she's got a piece of the puzzle. She's got a dad that is a doctor and that has money for an appointment, whatever that is. Mm-hmm. So now the next thing is fear. Fear is a wonderful motif that is in this movie. And it not only plays into it only plays into a few of the characters, but it's really powerful. It fits into Baby and it fits into Penny. I think they're really important to talk about because we first see it with Penny. She admits to Baby that the night of the appointment, she's scared, but Baby consoles her. And it's also most likely that she's scared that night that Baby found her crying in the kitchen. She was probably also really terrified there as well. That could have been the night that Robbie made it clear that he wasn't in love with her anymore and that he wasn't going to take any responsibility. And they don't really touch on Penny's fear on the particular aspect of abortion, but any woman who has been in that situation can feel that below the surface. I thought the actress really brought that fear just by saying, I'm scared, baby. It was crystal clear. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, Baby, on the other hand, when she's told by Johnny, you're not scared of anything, she says, me? I'm scared of everything. I'm scared of what I saw. I'm scared of what I did, of who I am. And most of all, I'm scared of walking out of this room and never feeling the rest of my whole life the way I feel when I'm with you. So it's romantic. Yeah. And it's also very much the essence of who we are at, let's just say, 18-ish. So I kind of touched on this in the Heathers episodes, but Baby is on the doorstep to her whole life, and it's terrifying. It's really scary. What if you're wrong in what you want to do with the rest of your life? What if your perceptions about people and the world around you are wrong? Those are some years of big fears and big leaps of faith. I can say even at 40, I'm still scared of a lot of things.
When I think of being scared, it's always about the unknown. Penny was unsure of her future. What's going to happen? Will she be able to still dance? Will she be able to have kids? Will she be, if she does have kids, then is anybody going to take her? It's very scary to have the unknown just flooding you right in front of you. And then I'm also scared of the unfulfilled dream,
of
that thing you want to do with your life, but somehow something is stopping you or getting in your way, or there's some sort of obstacle that you have to keep fighting over and working over. But will you ever, do what you wanted to do with your life? And then I'm really scared of losing the people that are most influential in my life, that have had the biggest impression on my life, with my friends, my close friends.
Yeah.
And it is not just losing the person, it's once again losing that possibility. What if my mom doesn't get to be a great grandmother? What if, I'm sure my son will have kids. I think he's very loving with the family. What if my best friends, we can't go down the paths that we wanted because something happens to them? It's always, I hate the thought of losing the people that are most important to me. Yeah. And, like the unfulfilled dream, also the unfulfilled love, like Baby never feeling so alive as she does with Johnny and losing that. And kind of, but I think thinking about the what ifs can drive a person to living in the now.
Yeah.
Don't think about the what ifs. Just do what you know is right, or hope that's right, and hope for the best. And so that's why she went and got her dad. She saw someone in trouble. She saw someone who needed medical attention. She knew that the ambulance couldn't be called. The best thing that she knows next is her father.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because he can fix it.
Yeah.
He is actually the person for the job.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a no-brainer. It's like, no, go get him.
So that's not,
a person's life is in jeopardy.
You can still be very afraid of going and getting your father and pulling him into a situation that he's not going to be happy about.
Right.
But someone is in danger.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's who, she was raised to be. You know what I mean? To help somebody. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And that kind of, that ties us into another theme that's in the movie, which is the father-daughter relationship. I mean, we have the opening narration with Baby said, "I never thought I'd find a guy as great as my dad." And then also Baby's dad introducing her as, "Our baby's going to change the world." So these two have the same like political views and they seemingly listen to one another. Yeah. But when Baby brings him to help Penny, he then tells her, "You're not the person I thought you were. I'm not sure who you are." Mm-hmm. He then gives her the silent treatment for pretty much the rest of the movie. Mm-hmm. But Baby's sister, Lisa, she doesn't seemingly have that same relationship with their father. And she says to Baby, kind of, I would say in a moment of jealousy, what you care about is you're not Daddy's girl anymore. He listens when I talk now, and you hate that. Uh-huh. So here we are, two grown women. Yeah. I will fully admit that I am a daddy's girl. I had it pointed out to me all the time. And by the way, I totally embrace it, that I'm very much like my father. I now take it as a compliment. I did not when I was a kid. Mostly because I wanted to be my own person. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that I didn't want to be him. I just wanted, I just wanted my own identity. Yeah. But my father was and still is a person that I have insightful conversations with about politics or culture, life, advice, etc. We do have the same rebellious spirit, and we also have the hardworking ethic of juggling way too many things at the same time. Okay. That's where I get it from. So you don't have to get too personal, but were you a daddy's girl?
No, I was not a daddy's girl.
Gotcha.
I am going to say I was also not a mommy's girl.
Yeah, there you go. Independent spirit.
Yeah. I grew up in a household that was very self-reliant. My mother got a promotion when I was 10, so I started walking home to an empty house when I was 10 years old.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, my stepfather had a 40-plus hour a week job at the newspaper.
Cool.
And my mother was also working on her master's.
Ah.
And I was an only child.
Gotcha.
So I didn't have that competition for attention with other siblings.
Right. Oh, very true. Yep.
So I made sure the house was clean. I either made dinner or made sure part of dinner was done by the time my mom got home to take care of the rest.
Right.
Like I said, I had the chores.
So you were almost like another adult in the house.
Kind of, yeah.
So it's really hard to have that daddy's girlness if you are, pulling your weight, doing the responsibility, kind of like around the house. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. But I still do I can talk with my mother about the politics and the life, and I think I took on the same role as a learner because she's actually working on another degree of some kind.
Oh wow, look at that. Never stop learning.
She has two bachelors and masters, and she's still in school right now at the ripe old age of 60-something.
Oh, look at that. I firmly believe in never stop learning. So yes.
Yeah, and me too. So I still learn things mainly about history now because I hated it when I was a kid.
I know, right?
I got that from my mom because she was actually a history teacher at one point.
Gotcha. Rebelliousness. I totally understand it.
Yeah. Not a daddy's girl, not really a mommy's girl, but that's cool too.
That's the thing. I never assume that everybody is. Also, it's one of those things where like people look at me and they're like, "You're totally a daddy's girl," and I'm like, "Yeah, it is what it is." It sucks. Label it any way which you want to, but yeah.
Sure.
So when Baby needs to admit that when she was with Johnny to clear his name from the wallet stealing incident, she knows that she's admitting that she went against her father's wishes by having nothing to do with Johnny and with Penny. So finally, the two of them talk. Well, let's just say Baby talks. She apologizes for lying to him, but she says this, and I really love this, so I wanted to break it down. So, "But you lied too. You told me that everyone was alike and deserved a fair break, but you meant everyone who was like you. You told me that you wanted to change the world, to make it better, but you meant by becoming a lawyer or an economist or marrying someone from Harvard. I'm not proud of myself, but I'm in this family too, and you can't keep giving me the silent treatment. There are a lot of things about me that you aren't what you thought. But if you love me, you love all the things about me. And I love you, and I'm sorry I let you down, but you let me down too. So let's unpack this, because there's actually a lot of great wisdom that we can pull from it. So Baby is actually seeing the faults in her mentor. Your mentor doesn't necessarily need to be your father, your mother, your grandmother. Sometimes your mentor is just somebody you really looked up to. I even had mentors like Steven Spielberg, who I never met in real life, but they were my mentor. So the person that she thought had all the answers is fallible. And this can be heartbreaking, but I think it's so important because nobody is perfect. We all have faults. We all have perceptions. And Baby's father is no exception. He said one thing, but he's doing another. He says to give everyone a chance, but he's not willing to give Johnny and the dancers at the resort a fair chance. He's persecuting Johnny, who's actually watching over Penny, when he's blind to Robbie, who might be a sexual predator with his other daughter. So he has this blind spot on those that are in the same social class as him, where Baby doesn't. And she points that out because if you love someone, you love the whole package, warts and all. What did you think about that moment between Baby and her father?
I did love it. It was placing a mirror in front of her mentor and showing the faults. Him trying to digest it at the same time of acting like he's not listening to her.
Which is adorable.
He understands that the worst thing that actually either one of them can say is, I'm disappointed in you. And he said it to her after helping Penny, and then she just said it to him. And so he's basically getting it back, but understanding that he deserved it. It is definitely the biggest character development of Baby in the whole film.
Yeah.
Moment of her realization that no one is perfect, but you still have to stand up for what you believe in. And even though he might not have meant, you can't give everyone a chance. It is just people on your level.
Right.
That's not how she took it. And that's her perception of it. And she's going to stand by it.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that because it shows character.
Yes.
I'm super proud. So did you have any final thoughts? Anything else that you loved about this movie, that you learned from this movie?
I think that the reason that it became so popular is because it is that coming of age story in
true.
More innocent time. It was still a more innocent time, so you could believe that people could believe in each other like this. But you still want to think that people are that good, and that hopefully everyone watching it on any type of level, the dancer or the educated, the Yale educated, would be able to see that, to see part of themselves in the film. And that's why so many went to see it. And you got that acceptable side that the guests would show to each other, and then you had that dirty dancing side that people want to do, but they don't, but they want to.
Yeah, that reserved part of themselves. Oh, I couldn't dare.
Yeah, but you want to let out, because that's why everyone was dancing at the end.
Exactly.
You know, all the guests were there, including the older ladies. So.
Yes. Oh, I loved that. Oh, yeah. Find a partner. Doesn't matter who. Grab somebody. Start dancing.
So it's nice to kind of, see that acceptance from everyone.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, I want to thank the wonderful Jennifer Berk for joining me to talk about Dirty Dancing. So, Jennifer, tell the good people where they can find you online and learn all the wonderful things about you.
Well, if you'd like, I do have a page on IMDb. It's under Jennifer Berkemeyer.
Awesome.
And it shows all of the independent films that I have done in the Midwest area, so all over Indiana.
That is a great place to actually find you. So yes, IMDb. What I'll actually do is I will leave the link in the show notes for people to click and see all the awesome things you were in, because you were also in a couple of my movies too.
Yes, I was.
That's how I know my fabulous Jennifer. So to sum up, I feel like if this was a short story, it would be called The Summer That Baby Became Frances. We see a journey of an 18-year-old, naive but open-minded girl, and it ends with a woman who embraces a side of herself that she was scared of. I wish Baby could have had a moment to express her rebirth or awakening from Baby to Frances, but it's summed up by Johnny. Johnny brings her up on stage, and he takes back the last dance of the season, and he says to the crowd about Baby, "She taught me that there are people willing to stand up for one another, no matter what it costs them. Someone who taught me about being the kind of person I want to be, Frances Houseman." So no longer Baby, she's now Frances. She has a name, she has an identity, and a new way to express herself. She grew up that summer. So find your self-expression, whether it be dance or art or writing or lively conversation. Find that heartbeat rhythm in whatever makes you happy and expresses your joy. Don't be scared of it. Embrace it. And please, have the time of your life. Till next time. Kate's Take is brought to you by Gal's Guide to the Galaxy. For more information, including links to our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, visit galsguide.org.